So Hollywood's always been quite uncomfortable with its queerness, like from the get-go, and things obviously, there are still problems these days. How do you feel that, are things improving now, or how do you feel the industry is?
So I think there's a real bias against stories of female sexuality in general, but particularly in the queer arena. And I mean, CC Call Me By Your Name does quite well, and Love Simon. And I am noticing there's much less support and risks being taken for equivalent films about women.
I thought it was interesting the way you dealt with women having sex in the film, because quite often it has historically been quite exploitative, and it's all sort of the softcore porny side. How did you make sure to steer away from that?
Because I'm a woman and I don't want to be a perv.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just hire a woman to do it.
Change your perspective.
And she'll do a great job.
Yeah.
I think,
and a DP that's a woman.
Yeah. There's a lot of authenticity. I am a queer woman. My cinematographer is a queer woman. My editor is a queer woman. We made this film together, and I let those two performers take over their scenes and gave them the freedom and autonomy to dictate the way they wanted to pretend fuck. Can I say that? Okay. Great.
You both talk about the importance of queer women specifically telling their own stories. There's been a lot of controversy recently about whether straight actors should play queer roles. I mean, what's your take on that?
I think it's unfair to assume anyone's sexuality. You know, I think that's first and foremost my biggest issue with that question. And the beautiful thing about this movie is there's actually a line that Cameron says in it. And she says, I don't view myself as a homosexual. I don't view myself as anything. And I hopefully think, you know, you talk to these 13 and 14-year-olds now, and the way that they talk about their sexuality and the fluidity of that and their representation, they don't feel like they have to label who they are and what they are. And I think that's such a beautiful step in the right direction.
Who did you talk to people who've been through sort of gay conversion therapy?
Before going to production, Chloe and I met with survivors of gay conversion therapy and heard their stories, and it was heartbreaking. I think I had thought that it was a problem that was more prevalent in the 90s and was kind of dying down, and it really surprised me that a lot of the men we met were raised close to where I grew up in the New York area and were much younger than me.
Sorry, Chloe, I've got one terrible question to ask. In the news today, they were talking about a comic where Hit Girl beats up Hollywood abusers. Would you play that?
Yeah, for sure. I think Hit Girl would really beat the hell out of some people, for sure. Although I don't condone violence.
I was going to say, the best way to combat rape is more violence.
I don't condone violence, but Hit Girl is a very violent character, inherently.